Well, where did it come from? Where did the chat come from, first and foremost?
Where did it come from? Where did it go? Where did it come from? Cotton Eye Joe. I'll blame Cotton Eye Joe.
Well, Cotton Eye Joe is probably a hero in the Daily Mail. That's where it came from. And that kind of sums it up, does it not? I mean, I like the Daily Mail because it's just a bit of goss, isn't it? And that's literally what it seems to be. But there must be a few arms and some legs growing out of them rumours. But them rumours have been around for a while, haven't they? The weird thing about it was, I think it was Chris Foy, who writes for the Daily Mail and is quite active on Twitter. He put a tweet out, that's where I saw it, and said that breaking news, South Africa are going to be joining the Six Nations in 2025, was it, or something like that?
Yeah, that's what it
and
was.
I didn't even bother engaging in it. I know there was uproar and people were, building a narrative around why it shouldn't happen. I thought we would just wait and chat about it on air because it was a bizarre timing to happen, really, or even say. But it makes you think there might have been something there. But it's been kibosh now. And as much as I love South Africa, one of my favourite countries, if not favourite country, love the people there, love the team. I don't know what value that adds to the Six Nations, which you could probably say is the strongest tournament we've got in rugby, out with the World Cup. I know we've got the Lions and stuff like that, but consistently the Six Nations is great. And the question is around Italy, and we've spitballed it on here, spoken about it. Give them a couple of years. What's the point in them getting to where they've got to now in terms of their under-20s doing well, everything we spoke about last week, bringing in Kieran Crowley, the profile of their team. It's a European competition. And Goody, you mentioned it last week. I'm all for promotion relegation and looking at a Romania or a Georgia or a Portugal or whatever, having a game to see at the end of the tournament against Italy. It's not going to be Scotland, could be England. Against Italy, finish bottom of the Six Nations to see who could potentially come up. I like that idea. It's a European competition. But maybe I'm going back on myself a bit. There's clearly something there from the powers that be, the relationship with CBC and rugby now. But I think the proof's in the interaction around it. And from what I saw, people weren't happy.
Financially, South Africa are struggling, I think, nationally in terms of the revenues that are around the game and the support for the provinces. They need to try and, it's probably them pushing that rhetoric a bit, really. But I did like the Six Nations came out straight away and said, we've got no intentions of it. And the facts around it are the Springboks have signed up to the Rugby Championship until 2024 at the minute as it stands. And there's obviously a huge issue with Sanzar along the lines of what's happened with the Super Rugby teams being sort of pushed away and playing the URC now. So it's a question, isn't it? Now, you need to align two competitions and there'd be a European competition, which is the Six Nations. I'm with Jim. Promotion relegation game should be the next change, but then you have the Rugby Championship, and you're expanding the Rugby Championship to include Japan, to include either Fiji or the Pacific Islands as a whole, or Tonga. Get one of them in there alongside South Africa and Argentina. Then you've got two unbelievable tournaments: Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. You perhaps look at a game, if you can find space in this global calendar that's not changing yet, for the two champion teams to play each other. The more they change and play around and mess around with the competitions, the less valuable actually the World Cup becomes. There was something in the press a few weeks back saying, let's play the World Cup every 2 years. Ridiculous, because it devalues a World Cup. And again, the conversation is always going to be around this global season, which is what Six Nations have come out and said with CBC and everyone. That's the focus for them at the minute, trying to look at the July and November test windows and a global season where everything fits together.